So, yes everybody, we are back with some more Jujutsu Kaisen content. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with another spoiler chapter breakdown and review. Ooh, oh my goodness. I've been waiting on this here. Listen, I don't know about y'all. Listen, I know there's a lot of people saying this is a one big yap session. A lot of people weren't necessarily feeling this chapter. I love it. I dig it. As someone who has fairly good media literacy. I'm clearly joking, but actually, Fumbus Wumbus made a very good video over media literacy. Also, your boy is featured in that, so make sure you go send some love to him. But I've been waiting on this chapter for a very long time. Yuji and Sukuna have not had a very long and lengthy conversation between each other since the beginning of the series, basically. Even past Shibuya. I believe the only time they ever talked to each other for at least a little bit was when Sukuna described himself as the Fallen, and that was maybe a page or two, but Sukuna and Yuji have never had this level of dialogue and interaction since the beginning of the story, and I've been waiting on it forever. As you guys know, with the Shinjuku showdown, Yuji has not said a single word to Sukuna besides a primal scream when he tried to rip out his heart and just but that all changed here, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get into the spoilers, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Oh my goodness, and please leave a like, because y'all been going crazy with the likes recently, and we are on the road to 10K, and I would love for you to be part of the community. Also join the Discord in the description. So when we start off with the leaks here, we see that Itadori expands his domain, but what is this place? And Sukuna says, I've experienced this before, the rare phenomenon of connecting with a sorcerer during the height of battle. Now this is what I and a lot of other people were saying, was that this is this strange ability that Yuji and Sukuna both have, where they can talk to the soul of another person. Again, like Sukuna said, at the height of their battle. So, for example, Yuji had his conversation with Choso right before Choso was killed. Kashima had his conversation with Sukuna right before he was killed. So here, Yuji and Sukuna are both having this same effect. Now, Sukuna says something very interesting here. He says, I had thought it was a side effect of some sort due to cursed energy being born from humans, yet this is something different. Sukuna says, what is this, your domain? Yuji says, enough chatter. I did this a little frantically. I don't really get this either. So, as far as this goes, yeah, neither of them really know what this ability is even. Because everybody thought it was kind of strange when Sukuna just popped up in Jogo's like innate domain or whatever when he died, but this seems to be something completely different. Now, most likely this has to be something akin to, because Sukuna was inside Yuji for so long, obviously their souls are basically semi-merged at this point, which is why I believe that Sukuna looks like Yuji in his Sukuna form here. But this is very weird, this is very interesting. Yuji seems to have a hint as to what this is, but he doesn't know exactly. And so as we progress through this entire chapter, we see Yuji showing Sukuna things from his past and things that he grew up with as a child. For example, on the second page, he says, I lived here till I was 6 or 7 and moved to Sendai. I was born in Sendai. We just lived here for my grandpa's work. I came here for the first time in like 10 years for a funeral, friend of my grandpa's. Then on the third page, we see Yuji say, this is the park I hung out at most often. All the play equipment is pretty much gone, but I thought I was gonna die after I stubbed my toe in the swing set, so I'm not too mad about it. Yup. The entire time that Yuji is walking through and talking to Sukuna through this chapter, he has a very somber tone. We know he says, let's go Sukuna at the end of last chapter, which led myself and others to believe that he was literally taking Sukuna to the afterlife. Myself and others thought Yuji literally put his hand on Sukuna's shoulders and said, hey bud, you're not going anywhere. Both you and I are dying together, but that's not what this is here. Which again, I am glad, because obviously by the end of this chapter, we know that their battle is still continuing to rage on, and we still have yet to see the climax of their battle. We get this interesting little bit where Sukuna kind of mocks Yuji for not knowing the exact type of flower that Yuji decides to pick at this current time. He says that is a hydrangea, and Yuji's like, yeah, I know, careless mistake. And then Yuji's like, wait a minute, how did you know about the different flowers? And then Sukuna says, oh, I learned them from Megumi Fushiguro's memories. But then Yuji actually retorts and says, wait, well, wouldn't that mean you know about this place from my memories when you're in my body? And Sukuna says, I didn't waste time going through memories like that. So, I mean, I guess Sukuna's just a D1 hater for some reason, because you thought it was pertinent information to know flowers rather than know Itadori's childhood. That's crazy. I respect it though. I respect it. We have a pretty a funny scene where Yuji actually decides to catch some crayfish.
This dumb nigga really just said crayfish.
With Sukuna, and he actually kind of, you know, teases Sukuna. He's like, oh, can the biggest and baddest sorcerer of all time, can he at least catch one little crayfish? And Sukuna easily does this. And then they actually have this little moment where they actually tease each other about the size of their crayfish respectively that they caught. Yuji says, you got an American crayfish, Japanese ones are more rare. And Sukuna says, what you say? And then Yuji says, you heard me? Yo, this is such a fun dynamic that these two have. I have been waiting for these two to have an interaction like this. I know a lot of people, dude, there's so many people saying, yapping, get back to the action. We have had 40 chapters straight of straight hands and straight action. This is what I like to see. I like to see this. This interests me. Yume, you know I love you, brother, but listen, I think you're a hater. I think you're sleeping on this chapter, good brother. We see Yuji take Sukuna through his favorite department store. We see Yuji take Sukuna through some pastures and look at horses and just admire, oh, when he was a kid, just how crazy they looked. I mean, horses actually look very freaky. Like, it's funny to me, this is a random tangent, but like, it's funny to me when people think that aliens don't exist, when you have things like giraffes, or like stingrays and horses that exist on Earth, and we just like accept it. Like, as big and vast as the universe is, you're telling me that like we're the only like sources of life on here? Like, nah. Didn't they find bacteria on Mars or something? That has nothing to do with this video. My viewer retention's going down. I'm sorry, back to the leaks. Yuji actually challenges Sukuna to a bit of archery, where Sukuna is actually, you know, fairly accurate, because I mean, man literally wields all day, so I wouldn't really anticipate him to, you know, not be accurate in archery. We get a little cute preview of baby Yuji, where he's talking about, I always loved drinking a sweet milk tea after my hands went numb from snow shoveling in the morning. And we see a little, you know, obviously a cute little baby Yuji with his grandfather. Now this chapter actually confirms something. So for me, at one point Yuji says, my grandpa took me to this farm every so often. I guess now that I think about it, he did a lot of parenting in my mom and dad's place. So what this tells me is that Yuji, for all intents and purposes, does not know his parents, or at very least after he was born, they just disappeared. So I'm assuming that Kenjaku either killed Jin or made Jin totally disappear. Now, obviously, we know that Yuji's grandfather raised him, but to me, it just seems like Yuji just never met them in general. He doesn't speak on them at all. And the final memory that Yuji decides to show to Sukuna is Yuji says, once it got closer to Christmas, I would always hear bells at night. That always made me think once it got closer to Christmas, I would always hear bells at night. That always made me think Santa really did exist. I only realized way later it was just the snow chains on car tires. Then Sukuna says, all right, enough already. And then Yuji says, okay, I showed you everything I wanted to show you. And we have a major reversal in Yuji's mindset here, and this is fantastic. As a lot of you all know, I have been ragging on Yuji, not necessarily ragging, but I do think it is a big character flaw of his, and it is very well written, that Yuji sees himself as a cog. He doesn't see himself as very necessarily valuable or anything else. He always just saw himself as being able to only just do what he can do at that current time, and things like that, which kind of conflicts with Gojo's message when he said to Megumi, when he is giving Megumi the message. Gojo says Yuji or I would go for a strike, but you went for a bunt. You went to sacrifice yourself, which is funny because Yuji actually ended up adapting that very mentality. But Yuji goes on to say on page 12, up until recently, I thought I should simply live to fulfill my role as I understood it. I thought if I died like that, I could at least consider it a proper death. But now, I feel like that's not entirely right. Your role can be really anything like walking a dog or to nurture your family. Even without such things, whether you just eat, take a shit, and sleep, or you're bedridden with illness, with your life not connecting with anyone and leaving nothing behind. Just the tiny fragments of memories that make up a person drifting elsewhere give value to a human life. Essentially what Yuji's saying here is that for a person's death, it is not their actual death that matters, but the memories but the positive memories and positive feelings that are associated with that person are the most important things. And I do think that is true, and it helps a lot of people, certainly with grief. For a lot of people, including myself, when it comes to grief, it is very helpful to think about all the positive memories that you had with a person, rather than dwelling on, oh, how did they die, were they suffering, or anything like that, or I won't be able to see them again. It's taking the fact that the time that you did have with them was truly a blessing, and that is something that you can never take away. It really ties into what Todo says to Yuji as well, is that like these people won't die until their memories are forgotten, so it's up to you to keep them going. It ends what he's saying. And also we get confirmation that Nobara is like dead. Like, oh, yo, the Gege is hilarious, dude. There is no way that Gege does not look at leaks and chapter discussions, because people have been coping for like months and months and months that Nobara's gonna come back, Nobara's gonna come back, but Yuji just like outright just said it right here. And also we're encountering that thing again where for some reason Gege just does not remember how to draw Nobara. I don't know why. Also Gojo looks like a lizard here for a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe it's just like the angle of how he's looking down, but he just looks like Mark Zuckerberg to me. And Yuji goes to tell Sukuna to his face, I couldn't ever forgive anyone who acted as if that value didn't exist. Sukuna, I loathe you. And we get a small flashback of Mahito as well. Good to see Mahito. We haven't seen Mahito since, I believe, chapter 135 or 136. I like it. I actually like how it looks in Gege's new style. People aren't tools. We aren't born with any set role. I have no clue whether humans are fundamentally good or evil. Maybe I'm in the wrong. So I thought I should at least let you see the humanity of someone other than yourself, of someone you see no value in. And Sukuna says, I don't feel a thing. Sukuna says, I understand everything you're saying, Brett, and yet I feel absolutely nothing. Just as you felt when you saw how quiet this town became. You had expected it. So what? And then Yuji takes more of a dark tone, and more of a sad tone. And he says, no dice, huh? That's what I figured. Sukuna says, suffice to say, I'm dumbfounded by just how cowardly you're being. Your rage towards me, your hatred, is this all it amounted to? And then Sukuna widens his eyes and he has a twinge of anger in his heart when he discovers that Yuji is pitying him. Sukuna says, are you pitying me? Is this your way of showing compassion? We see Yuji turn his eyes towards Sukuna and he says right on the mark, Sukuna, I can kill you. Release Fushiguro, return to my body, and I will spare your life. Come on, Yuji, give me that new face, man. Come on, man, get that man, bro. Huh? What'd I tell you, man? What I tell you, man? Huh? Yuji, I've been telling you to stay on this man's neck for months, almost a calendar year. When you first showed up with Higuruma, I said, Yuji, show this man what you are made of. Show this man what you can do, bro. Huh? You looked that man dead in his eyes. You looked that man dead in his face. You said, I can kill you right now. I am showing you mercy. Release him. Oh my God. I don't want to hear shit about, oh, Yuji's not the main character in this series. Gojo's the main character. I don't want to hear shit. Huh? I ain't trying to hear that. Oh my God. Oh my. I've been waiting on this here. And Sukuna says, such a grave and severe misconception. I won't simply stop mincing you to bits right in front of your eyes. I will slaughter each and every human being you claim to be oh so valuable. And I don't know what this is. I have never seen Gege draw in this style, but the rage that Sukuna feels, you could just feel it oozing through the page, man. Oh my God. It's funny because even when Gojo literally knocked Sukuna out and did all this with the domain clashes and everything like that, Sukuna was never angry at Gojo. Quite the opposite. He was actually loving the fight, enjoying himself. Obviously, we have your magnificent Satoru Gojo. I will never forget you until I die, or I will never forget you as long as I live, excuse me. But Yuji, we go back to many chapters ago, I believe about 10 to 13 chapters ago, where he says, this kid is uncorruptible. He has an indomitable spirit. I cannot consume him, and it irritates me. And we see this on full display. Everyone is terrified of Sukuna. He is regarded as the strongest sorcerer of all time. Literally, he has earned this title over and over and over and over again. No other person is running the gauntlet that Sukuna is running, bro. No one else could. Gojo couldn't, Kashibo couldn't, Yorozu couldn't, Yuki couldn't, Kenjaku couldn't, Yuta certainly couldn't. Like, come on, what are we talking about, bro? Sukuna's ego is completely based in his strength. So when he sees Yuji threaten his life and he says, I'm not scared of you, he says, I have power over you. Yuji literally living rent-free in Sukuna's head, and he just starts tweaking. Oh yeah, I know next chapter about to be just visceral. I can feel it in my scrote, man. I'm ready for this here. I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't know about y'all, I'm ready. Now, as far as what Yuji's gonna do, I have no idea. This isn't his domain expansion, but does he know what his domain expansion can even do at this point? I don't know. What is this sure hit that Yuji is just assuming that he has in his pocket, that he knows he can just kill Sukuna off rip? I don't know, man. I am very, man, okay. Also, Gege's art is phenomenal here, so I mean, wow, I'm loving it, man. So he says, return to my body and I'll spare your life. So as far as I know, that if he goes back to Yuji's body, Yuji's plan on dying then. So I guess Yuji has come to the realization that he can't die because he has, like he told Mahito, I have many more souls to save, and for every person you kill, I save just as many. So very interesting. Wow, okay. Dude, I need a Heian era flashback so bad, it is not even funny. I doubt we're getting one at some point. I mean, I at this point, I'm believing that the closest Heian era flashback we will see is the one with Yorozu and Sukuna. Unfortunate, but Gege still has plenty of time as far as I know. I would just love to see like Sukuna's birth. I would love to see just like his thoughts, concerning Jean entirely and his mother. I would love to see all of that. I know there's that theory that Tengen gave birth to Sukuna. I don't necessarily like that. I would definitely rather them be their own separate entities. If it would feel just too close, too tight knit, because then you get Kenjaku coming in there and getting with Sukuna's brother. I would rather it be its own separate thing personally. So all this is going on, man, and still no Kaori versus Ryōmen. Dude, one of my mods texted me earlier, and he was like, "Hey, we your predictions for chapter 265," and I said Urame versus Sukuna unironically. I legit thought that's my bad, y'all. That's my bad. At this point, y'all ain't never getting it. I literally thought after that double page that it was gonna switch back to that. It didn't. I mean, it did for a second, but we didn't actually see their fight. And I thought after this last one, I was like, that's a crazy cliffhanger to leave off of, go back to the fight. But I guess it's going to be more of a Bleach 1000-Year Blood War type situation where you have the final battle going on, and then at some point deep in there, you're going to have the switch, 5 chapters before the manga ends or something like that. I really didn't like that in the 1000-Year Blood War, to be honest. I think, what was it, Yororichi versus the one Aizen-looking guy? I don't remember exactly, because Grimjaw showed up. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this past chapter of JJK, man. The final battle is approaching, man. Wow. Sukuna is about to go all out against Yuji. Yuji really pissed this man off. He really got in that man's face. He talked that shit. So I like to see, man. But yeah, it's me, boy Daffy, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Please make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Y'all make sure you take care of yourselves. Oh my God. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Bye.